All right, we're going to start things off with greens commons here. Looking at a tune with Aether first. Single green for a sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. You get 2 energy.
Yeah, so you take it on this one. I think this is your wheelhouse here.
I am the, as Ryan Sachs would say, the resident Reclaim the Wastes expert.
Yeah.
Uh, this card is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I mean, kind of better than Reclaim in a lot of ways, just because the two energy, especially in green, you really care about that.
Yeah.
I have some reservations about what this will be like in Best of One, in terms of like one splashing around, but two like what you do with your energy. But I think all in all, this is a good card, and I am gonna start it off as a C plus.
Yeah, it's very similar to Reclaim, where it's like it's a lay of the land style card that it has synergy with the set's mechanic, right? I think like you kind of alluded to, this has a little bit more synergy than,
Mm-hmm.
or like the synergy is more powerful than just the kicker synergy. But yeah, this is a great card, especially because in your energy decks, like you're often splashing red for the good red payoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a card you're gonna want to prioritize highly if you're leaning towards energy cards. And yeah, I agree with your C plus.
Yeah.
Could honestly like almost encroach on B minus in a lot of spots. So just be careful of that. Next up, we've got Ornamental Courage. This is a single green mana for an instant. Untapped target creature. It gets +1/+3 until end of turn.
I mean, this is fine. It's a single mana combat trick, so it'll perform better than perhaps we think. I guess you can you can cruise something and then untap and attack with that
Yeah,
creature.
sure.
But most
Yeah.
of the time, you just want to try and ambush some attacker, really, or whatever.
I kind of like these like green untap plus a little bit of power plus a lot of toughness cards. I think they tend to line up pretty well against just like removal spells and against just like racing situations.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it's not like a good card. It's not a card I'm actively looking to put in my deck, but a fine 23rd playable.
So, what, D plus?
Yeah, about D plus. All right, next up here we have Unbridled Growth. So this is a cool one. This is a single green mana for an aura. It enchants a land. Enchanted land has tap, add 1 color of any mana. So it basically turns your land into a rainbow land. And it has sacrifice Unbridled Growth to draw a card. So once you're done with it, you can just cash it in.
Yeah, I think this is. I mean, so it's nice that green gets both this and Unbridled Growth as cheap ways to fix.
This ain't a tune.
Sorry, this and
Yeah,
Attune with Ether to be cheap ways to splash around. I think Attune with Ether is much better than this. This does free trigger revolt, though. As we've seen, there's really not a lot of revolt, even at the higher rarities. There's just not a lot, right? The best thing so far is the black 3/2 that gives -3/-3, and that's kind of best by a long shot.
Right, like it's gonna come up. You're gonna be like, "Oh, this Umbrella Growth happens to have some overlapping synergies because they have 4 Revolt cards." But you're not like taking this like Revolt enabler,
The fact that this cantrips on the sacrifice is slightly awkward because oftentimes you want to like dig towards your splash thing, but you can't sacrifice this because it enables your splash. Like, I think this card is like you can play it, but I'm not excited about it. I think I give this like a C minus D plus.
Yeah, I remember this card even when it was a little bit more supported. Like the Revolt things were a little more supported. Even then, it was like good, but it wasn't a key enabler or anything. So
Right.
I like C plus for this card.
You mean D plus or C
Oh,
minus?
sorry, D plus for this card. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Commencement of Festivities. So this is 1 and a green for instant. Prevent all common damage that would be dealt to players this turn. It's just a fog.
I'd say no.
No, this is like I don't know why this one got printed. To be honest, it seems like an odd place. There's enough fogs in Historic, and this is not even a sideboard card for limited. So it's like, what's this doing here? I don't know. This is just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Druid of the Cowl, Alex. I would like to hear about your thoughts on this. 1 and a green, 1/3 elf druid, taps out a green mana.
Right. So I think there's some formats where I think mana dorks are just worse than in other formats. I think kind of like removal spells. Mana dorks get grouped into this group of cards just like they are just generically good. Like people tend to assume, oh, it's a mana dork, it's just good. When I don't think that is true in a lot of formats. This one, like I do remember Druid of the Cowl being good because the 4 and 5 drops in this set are good, So I do want to get to them a turn earlier. In some sets, that doesn't matter as much, right? Just like, getting your card a turn earlier is less important than like grinding out card advantage or whatever. And this card is you're basically down a card, right? When you're casting this as just a 1/3 that maybe get something out a turn earlier. It's like a ritual almost. But I do think it's meaningful in this set enough from what I've seen that I do think it's going to be a good card and a high pick.
Do you have it in your top 3 green commons?
Haven't entirely ranked them just yet, but okay. I think so. Yeah, I think it is at very least 3rd.
Yeah, I currently have a Toon 3rd over this.
Yeah, so in your top 2,
we're jumping ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm on Thriving Rhino 1 and then Hunt the Weak 2 is my ranking, but we can get there. So are you C+ in here with the Druid?
I'll C+. Yeah, I'll C+.
I'm trying to temper myself a little bit here because I feel like I'm always too hot on the Mana Dorks. I think that's a holdover from Llanowar Elves in Dom.
Mm-hmm. And just being, they're great in Construct, they're great in Cube, right?
So, and I'm specifically looking for that jump from 2 to 4, which you don't really have. I mean, Pima Outrider is a thing, but
yeah, Outrider is one of the good ones. And just like you have the Tiger. The Tiger is really good.
Right. The 2 5-drops are great.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we'll get there. So Alex on C+. I'm gonna go on C for now.
Yeah. Let's do that. I don't mind that. Next up, we have High Spire Infusions. This is 1 and a green for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn, and you get 2 energy.
Yeah, this seems fine. I get 5.
Yeah, it's fine, not
first
great.
copy's probably like a C-.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing too much to talk about for this one.
This next one is interesting. Kujar Seed Sculptor is 1 and a green for a 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Now, we generally see this effect as a 2-mana 1/1.
Yeah.
Dauntless Survivor or the Beetle from Guilds of Ravnica.
Mm-hmm.
Just being a 2-mana 2/3 or a 2-mana 1/2 that then pumps something else up is nice, but +1/+1 counter synergies.
I think it's meaningfully better too. I remember this card being like an actively good card. As like if you're used to those cards, like the Warrior from Zendikar or like Iron Shell Beetle, which the Beetle was fine. It was never exciting, right? Like those are like meh cards.
Well, that was it was so good with Hawk. Like that was the dream of going Healer's Hawk on 1 into the Beetle on 2.
Yeah, that was the Wombo combo, right? And then this one is more leaning towards actively good, just in a vacuum, right? Like kind of like what we noted before, where 1/2 bricks servos, right? That's really nice, and it's like 1/2 can team up with something else to double block later in the game, and even though it puts his counter on something else, this is a premium 2-drop, right? It's quite good. I'm gonna give this one a C+.
So as we start to look, my feeling as I looked at the cards in. I mean, again, I said this in my article, so this is redundant for you, but I feel like green is like splashing or smashing, right? It's like trying to do like a tune with Ether, Druid of the Cowl, set up my mana, or you've got just like raw stats with like Seed Sculptor into Thriving Rhino. Do you feel like there's that I'm being too inflexible by thinking about those two things as like separate decks?
I think you're right. There's definitely a divide, but I think the key thing for me is like it's not like they clash with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the divide we see between the white cards sometimes, the blue cards are half are aggressive, half are defensive. I think the beat downy curve out ones can still go on the slower attuned decks.
So you're fine to play both Seed Sculptor and Druid in your green decks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm down with that. A C+, I like. It feels aggressive to me, but I'm into it, and I'm gonna join you there.
Sweet.
Sage of Shayla's Claim, or Shyla's Claim. 1 and a green for a 2/1 Elf Druid enters the battlefield. You get 3 energy. 3 whopping energy.
Yeah, so unlike most of the cards that give you energy, this one doesn't give you anything to spend it on, right? So you have to have, almost like Wood Weaver's Puzzle Knot, you have to have a really good reason to put this card in your deck. 2/1 for 2 is just not a good stat line, and you really want to have ways to use this energy consistently, right? Like,
but I think if you do have those ways, you're gonna be happy about this card, and this is going to be a card you don't need to prioritize, because like you should be one of the only people at the table who wants this card.
Yeah. This was like not a very good card back then, right? Unless you were specifically those decks, then it was okay, right? I agree though. You're gonna get these cards if you want them, so I'm gonna give this like a D, like a D plus is weird because it's like you're never playing this card if you don't have to. But I think in a vacuum D plus, and then in the decks it belongs in, it's still like a C minus or a C.
Yeah, I C minus is the highest I'll grade it.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not great at all.
All right. Next up here, we have Appetite for the Unnatural. 2 and a green for an instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment, and you gain 2 life.
I think you can main deck this.
Yeah, I'm a little bit happier to main deck this than Fragmentize.
Yeah, well, one, because I don't think green's as aggressive, and the fact that this hits white and blue's removal is pretty big. The fact that this also hits enchantments, I think, is quite good.
Yep. Fragmentize does too, right?
No. Fragmentize is only artifact, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure Fragmentize is enchantment as well.
Oh, I missed that. That makes me
happier.
A little happier about that card for sure. Yeah, artifact or enchantment. Okay, right. I missed that. I thought it was just an artifact. Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Yeah. So I mean, again, this is like a card that I'm happy maybe to play one of. But you know, you never want multiples. And yeah, again, I think the instant speed does matter, right? Like getting into instantly blow out like a revoke, right? And then block, that's pretty good. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go C. I think I kind of want one in my green decks. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. I agree with that.
Alex, you are killing me right now. Next up is High Spire Artisan. 2 and a green 0/3 with reach and fabricate 1. Weird card.
Yeah, it's like just a 1/4 reach.
It's Hitchclaw Recluse.
Yeah, it's aggressively medium, right? Like you're not you're not happy about this card.
This
almost
is like
ever.
D plus, I think.
Yeah, this is not. I mean, it's an okay defensive card in like your energy decks, but even there, it's like you can often just do better, have higher card quality most of the time, and I'm not too happy about this one.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. So next up here, ooh baby, we got Thriving Rhino. This is 2 and a green for a 2/3. Thriving Rhino enters the battlefield. You get energy, 2 energy, and when Thriving Rhino attacks, you may pay 2 energy. If you do, you put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Best green common.
That is large. It is a large friend over here. Yeah. Best green common. I can buy it. I'll buy it. Yeah. Let's do that.
My memory of this card is that I was like, if this came out on turn 3, I was just like, no, I can. How do I do anything with this card?
And it doesn't look like that would be true, right? It doesn't look like it's like so oppressive, right? It doesn't look like, oh man, I can never beat this card, but it's really good.
And it because it's in green, where green is gonna have the most like energy floating around. Unlike the other, the ether 2-drops or whatever, this grows. This is gonna be able to do the thing more than once.
Right. It gets in the first time, and then it just keeps getting in. It's a snowball card, right? Like it just keeps snowballing. So.
Yeah, I'm going B minus.
Yeah, I agree with the B minus on that one.
All right, it's back.
Yeah, I got Hunt the Weak here. So this is 3 and a green for a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights target creature you don't control.
You know what's kind of crazy?
Yeah.
We've seen so many iterations of these fight punch spells.
Mm-hmm.
The sorcery speed 4 mana one is one of the best.
It stands the test of time here. Yeah.
It's crazy to me that like, and it's always context dependent, but like this is a better card than Ran Through. I think.
It's close. It's really close there. But like the fact that you get a meaningful bonus like that, so it leaves something behind. That is meaningful, right?
Because honestly, the sorcery speed part, like, you always have to be a little cagey with these spells, and so like being restricted to cast it on your turn is like generally better anyway, because your opponent, like in theory, your opponent's tapped out. You know, like it's just better to just like do the thing when you can rather than be like, aha, but I could.
I think I think the difference is that like when Ram Through works, I mean, barring the trample flavor text or whatever, when Ram Through works, it's just it's a good cheap 1-for-1.
Sure.
When this works, when you go 2-drop, 3-drop, they go 2-drop, 3-drop, you go 2-drop, 3-drop, Hunt the Weak, it's kind of grown test worthy, right? You're like, oh geez, they killed my thing and their thing's bigger and it's harder to block. Like you start to snowball from there. So like, even though it's
Yeah.
more mana, I think it's worth the mana, right?
Right. So all that is to say, I think this card is, I think this card's very good. I think this is C plus for me.
Yeah, I would say that too. And also just like the slight +1/+1 counter synergy stuff. So
Right. That doesn't. Is there anything other than the Constrictor? I guess there's some stuff in black, like you could move counters.
sure, yeah. There's not much to be. There's the life linking flyer in black, but yeah, there's not too much, but worth noting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like C plus in this one.
All right.
All right. So next up we have Pima Outriders. This is 2 green for a 3/3 trample with Fabricate 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is one where you're probably often making this a 4-mana 4/4.
Yeah, I think so. Like, unless you're like green white or something. Green black sometimes too. But yeah, this is really, really solid. This was like, I remember seeing this card for the first time and being like, oh my god, are they insane? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just like, for the longest time, 4-mana 4/4 was like just great. And now this has like multiple upsides on it, you know? And one of the things we're noticing already with the green commons is that they like we mentioned before, they are just big, right? Like, green gets its time in the sun where it's just like, I am big, you are small, I'm gonna be bigger than you in combat, right? Going like Seed Sculptor into Rhino, into Pima Outrider, into the Tiger we're gonna get to in a few minutes there. Like, that is just a giant curve of massive stats, and that wins a lot of games.
And the other colors really can't compete with that.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard. So this card's good. This is like another C plus.
And it's very cool. I wish that we would sort of return to this so that green could do.
Right.
This is what green does best in limited. And also splashes around. But like, ideally, this is what green gets to do. It just gets to go, look, my creatures are just bigger than yours on rate, and so you just have to deal with that in some way. And when black gets like 5-mana 5/4s, then I just don't know what the heck green gets to do, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly. And it's just part of cheap creatures just getting better means a lot of times their stats get boosted. Like that's the whole slight power creep in the commons. But yeah, anyways, I like this card.
Yep. Here we've got Wild Wanderer. It's 3 green for a 3/2 elf druid. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Yeah.
This was very medium the first time around. This doesn't really do anything that your green decks will. Like, it's a third-rate fixer basically.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's fine, but it doesn't play an important role.
Yeah, I think this is D plus.
Yeah, D plus. It looks fine, right? It looks like it's like, oh, it's a ramps you and it just whatever, but it more fixes you than ramps you, because like getting to bridging the gap from 4 to 6 isn't all that important, and the body is not super relevant.
It's Draga Visionary, like you'll play it,
right? Yeah, you'll play it, but I think it's worse than Draga Visionary on average too.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways.
All right, so we get two beefy 5-drops here.
So first one here is Lifecraft Cavalry. So this is 4 green for a 4/4 trample. Has Revolt. It enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn. So same as all the Revolt tech. So it becomes a 6/6 if something left. This is big. And a lot of times what will happen, like this isn't the point of the game where combat is like, a lot of times in the early turns, your opponents will, you'll attack, your opponents will just go no block, they'll attack back, whatever. It gets to the point of the game where if you are the beatdown, they're likely going to want to trade, right? They're going to likely want to do something to stop your creatures. And that means this comes down as a 6/6, or, sometimes you just randomly have the map and it comes down as a 6/6 anyways, or just, some other thing. So this is a good 5-drop.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I don't know which one is better between this and the next one. So, and I don't know if it particularly matters. But it's nice that you get access to, like, you're gonna be able to get some beef at your top end here.
Yep, totally. And I do think this next one is better. So
better. So you're on C for Cavalry or C plus?
I'll go C. It's a 5-drop, and it's not like a great 5-drop, right? It's a good one, but.
So the last one here is Riparian Tiger. This is 3 green for a 4/4 with trample. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. When it attacks, you can pay 2 energy, and if you do, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
Yeah, so this is just the top end of your incredibly beefy curve. And like, I just remember playing against these green decks and just being like, it just never stops. Like, and they just like, you're like, okay, they're gonna run out of energy for their Thriving Rhino eventually, and they just don't, right? And like, so this comes in, even if it's just a 4/4 trample, you put the energy into the Rhino, and it's just like, oh my gosh, you know. So yeah, this one's a good one. Again, I think it's still just a C, but it's a good C.
Yeah, Green's got some good commons, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, up next in the uncommon department, Blossoming Defense, single green for an instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains hexproof until end of turn.
Yeah, so green got some good commons. It also just like got a lot of really, really good uncommons. Like I think green made out the best out of all the colors for like, you know, the good cards from each set. Basically, like I looked at the green spoiler, I'm like, oh, they just got all the busted cards from each set. So that's great. And this one is really, really good, right?
This is very good.
Yeah, like it just the cheap protection spell just being a combat trick at the same time. Very, very good. Better than it looks potentially. I think maybe it looks kind of meh, but when you blank their like 4-mana removal spell for 1 mana, it's great. And we've seen cards like this before. We've seen Ranger's Guile. The +2/+2 is a meaningful upgrade from the +1/+1.
Right, because it makes it a combat trick.
Right. Where the +1/+1 wins combat sometimes, not often. This one most of the time, right? So yeah, this is a great combat trick. I'm willing to give this a B-, honestly.
Whoa, that is high.
It's basically just Veil of Summer. No, it's not as good as Veil of Summer, but it's still very good.
I'm just going C on this.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. This is a pull into green for you. Wow.
I think so. Yeah.
That's a hot take. I'm getting some heat off of the Google Hangouts here.
All right, next up we have Autobac Stompers.
No.
Oh, sorry, miss. Oh yeah. I jumped to 10 here. Next up we have Narnum Renegade. So this is a single green mana for a 1/2 Death Touch, and says Narnum Renegade enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if a permanent you control left the battlefield. So good, yeah. Just like again, 1/2 being way better than 1/1 in this set. And sometimes it's just like a good beater when you've traded off your 2-drop or whatever. Like the turns you go attack with my 2-drop, play this in another 2-drop. That's really, really good, especially because this can't be blocked all that easily. It either trades with like a 3-drop or they have to like double blocking. This is a nightmare. This is quite a solid card.
Yeah, I think this is like a C+.
Yeah, C+ is probably where I'd land on this one.
Long Tusk Cub, baby.
Oh man.
Another card Crokies was not impressed with yesterday. 1 in a green for a 2/2. When it deals combat damage to a player, you get 2 energy, and you can pay 2 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on it.
I mean, to be fair, I think this is probably not a great constructed card these days. But
this was
back in the day.
Back in the day was really good, but yeah, no, I agree. But I think this is still great for limited.
This card, when your opponent plays this on the play, and you don't have an answer right away, like it snowballs harder than the Rhino a lot.
You just play this into Rhino, and this is a 3/3 that then gets you 2 more energy, and then you win.
Yes, this card's very good. This is like
were you Attune with Ether on 1? Like
it's like the most premium of premium 2-drops. Like it's like Fledgling from Zendikar, but probably a little bit better even, I'd say.
Yeah.
B+.
B+.
Let's do B+. Yeah.
This card's nuts.
Great card.
I think maybe even gets a little best of 1 boost.
Yeah, potentially.
You know.
All right, next up we have Nature's Way. So this is 1 in a green for a sorcery. Target creature you control gains Vigilance and Trample until end of turn, and it deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Yeah.
Punch, Vigi, Trample.
Yeah, great combo here.
Yeah.
Very efficient. Just a great. It's the Vigilance and Trample matter more than it might seem on first read too. It's really hard to like. The thing is, they take out your biggest creature, right? And or maybe not your biggest, but one of your biggest ones, and then they attack, and you kind of just have to trade a lot of the time because it gets Vigilance, and a few points probably trample over. You can't just like take it and hope to race them back a lot of the time.
Right.
It does a lot more than it might seem.
Am I crazy to think like Thriving Rhino is better than this?
Maybe. I think
this is better than Hunt the Week.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think I'm going to start taking Rhino over this. So I think this is a C+. Maybe it's B- territory.
It's close. Yeah, I don't like. I'm not like, no, you're wrong. It's just weird for me to adjust to that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can buy that. I think either way, it's very, very close.
Either way, it's close. I'm gonna go B-. I think this is a pull into green, whereas Hunt the Week may not be, but I do think I'm currently on Rhino.
Yep.
Over this. All right, Servant of the Conduit. Hello, Ethan. 1 and a green for a 2/2. Enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy, and you can pay an energy to add 1 mana of any color. Green gets quite a bit of fixing.
And this is just another great card, right?
It's a great card.
Yeah, it's a 2 mana mana elf that also contributes to your energy stuff and adds any color. Yeah, this card's just fantastic. It does exactly what you want in your energy.
It's the first time in set review history where green has been the last color reviewed, and it is perhaps the color we're most excited about.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely most excited about green in this set. I think it's the best color.
It's crazy. I was coming in pretty hot on white as well. But this review, white and red, I would say, but this review has got me pretty excited about green. B minus.
Yeah. Let's go B minus. I would even give this a B actually. I think it's that good. Again, because there's like Pima and the good 5-drops to ramp into, and you want to splash in your energy decks. I'm gonna give this one a B.
All right, B it is.
All right, next up we have Amolface Revolutionary. The hits keep coming. 1 green for a 3/3 trample. So decent stats on its own. Sure. When Amolface Revolutionary enters the battlefield or dies, for each kind of counter on target permanent or player, give that permanent or player another counter. So enters, you play your Seed Sculptor on 1 or on 2. This comes in, it adds another counter.
Good God.
You've got a lot of stats, or to your Rhino, or to your Pima Outrider. Like there's just a lot of counter stuff going around. And then when this dies, you do it again.
I see why Kujar Seed Sculptor is so good, because I'm looking at green has so much. Green has all the +1/+1 stuff.
Yeah.
Like
also just like green, like putting the counter on the Rhino or Pima Outrider can be backbreaking, right? Like very, very. I think that's another difference with why Seed Sculptor is so good. That a lot of times you put the counter on a creature in other formats, and you're like, I don't really like whatever. My opponent put a counter on a creature. I think it really matters on these creatures.
Yeah, so true. Are you going B here on Revolutionary?
Yeah, let's go B on this one.
Speaking, the hits keep coming. Move up the curve.
And there's still more to come after this. That's the wild part.
Armorcraft Judge, 3 and a green, 3/3. Oh, yeah. Maybe Hunt the Weak is better than Nature's Way because it has a +1/+1 counter. Honestly, like because of all this inherent +1/+1 counter synergy stuff, it might edge it out. Anyway, Armorcraft Judge, 3 and a green, 3/3. Enters the battlefield. You draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it.
This card is also nuts. Just like you're gonna draw like this isn't even Magical Christmas Land, but you draw like 2 to 3 cards off this card quite a bit.
Yeah,
right.
I think this is often not your turn 4 play.
No, of course, no.
But this is quite strong. I think it's another B.
It's great. This is another B, right?
Yeah. There you go. Give me that artifact destruction main.
Okay, finally one. I mean, even this one isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's 2 green for Creeping Mold. Destroy target land, artifact, or enchantment. Okay.
This is a D minus.
This is a D minus. It's still not horrendous.
If you want this effect, then just play Appetite,
yeah. Yeah, agree.
All right. Pima Ether Seer, 3 and a green for a 3/2. Enters the battlefield, you get an amount of energy equal to the greatest power among creatures you control, so at least 3. You can pay 3 energy. Target creature blocks this turn if able.
Okay, not impressed with this one either.
I think this is fine. There's just so much competition at 4 CMC. It feels like.
Yeah, it's okay. It's really like there's also just a lot of competition for where you want to put your energy, and this is not one of the other ones. True. Right. I think this is actually like just a D plus.
D plus, I think. Yeah, that's fair.
This one's not good.
I'm down with that.
All right.
Oh, what's up, Thragtusk?
Yeah. So here we go. We got the Autobac Stompers. So this is 3 green for a 5/4 trample. When Autobac Stomper enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life.
That's a lot of life, Alex.
It's a lot of life. Yeah. So it's a little bit similar to the Revolt Flyer.
But you don't have to work for it.
But yeah. Wow. Yeah. This card's
card is massive, dude.
This is a B plus.
B plus.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is fantastic.
Okay.
Next one up here.
Monstrous Onslaught.
Come on, we gotta get to some more bad cards sometimes. So this is Monstrous Onslaught. 3 green for a sorcery. Monstrous Onslaught deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control as you cast this spell. So they can't interrupt it, basically, right? So a lot of times this is gonna be pyrotechnics. This is gonna be 4 damage divided, which is fantastic, right? It's gonna wreck more. It's gonna wreck more decks. Some decks more than others. Like against the white deck, it's gonna be great. Against the green deck, not so great. But this is just fantastic, right? This is just the baseline of pyrotechnics is very, very good. And then sometimes it scales even higher than that. You attack with your Riparian Tiger to make it a 6. Post combat, you do this for 6. Like, man.
Yeah, this is another B.
Yeah, I think so.
There's setup cost to this, so I'm not.
There is
going
setup
insane.
cost. Yeah, it's not nuts, but it's very, very good in a lot of game states.
Yeah. Last one on the uncommons here. Oh.
So this is my take for best uncommon. I think this is better than.
Better than the Freighter?
I think this is better than Untethered.
Untethered Express?
Yeah.
That seems hot to me, but I like it. Ripscale Tusker. 3 green for a 5/5. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control.
So this is just Verdurous Gearhulk, though. Like, this is better than Verdurous Gearhulk in a lot of places.
Yeah.
This bird's insane.
It is insane. I think pack one, pick one, you're taking Express.
I mean, I think it's in the conversation. I don't think either is too wrong, but I think if I'm to choose one, I think this is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you going like A- here?
Yeah, A- on this card.
I'm going B+.
Ooh, I think this is an A-. I feel very firm about the A- on this one.
All right, your smile is winning me over here, Alex.
All right.
All right, we're home stretching here.
Home stretch.
First rare is Green Belt Rampager. Single green for a 3/4. When enters the battlefield, you pay 2 energy. If you can't, you return it to your hand and you get an energy.
Yeah, so a lot of times it's gonna be like green for a 3/4. Not a fantastic.
Fine, I think.
Yeah, this is fine.
Like a C, maybe a C+.
Yeah, worth noting you can't like just keep paying 1 to make your green. Like at some point,
right. If you have 2, you have to pay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this is fine. This is worse than a lot of the uncommons we just saw. This is like a C+.
Yeah, C+, I think.
Yeah, you can kind of like it is kind of nice where you go like turn 1 Greenbelt Rampager, turn 2 play a 2-drop, turn 3 like play this. You know, that's kind of a nice sequence, but yeah, nothing.
Right, the fact you turn 1 do nothing, turn 2 play a 2-drop, turn 3 play this, like it just I think it's fine.
Okay, so next we have Ovia Pashiri, Sage Lifecrafter. So it's 1 mana for a 1/2. So many 1 mana 1/2s in the set. It has 2 activated abilities. The first one is Tuna Green, tap, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact token. Okay, so it's pretty good. And then 5 mana, 4 and green, tap, create an XX colorless construct artifact token where X is the number of creatures you control. So, yeah, she starts making small things, and then she starts making very large things. Yeah, this is a really powerful card. It takes a while to get going. It's not just like, in a curve out game, this is not going to do as much, but it takes over the game in the late game, and it's really, really cheap.
Yeah, I'm in for this. I think this is a pull into green for me. I think I'm on B-.
Yeah, I think B- is just about right. I think there are a few of the green uncommons you're going to take over it. Maybe just B. I think it's powerful enough that
I think that I guess maybe it's B because maybe am I taking this over the Rhino?
I think you take this card over Rhino. It's close, but I think so.
All right, so then I think I'll go B.
All right.
I'll be singing a lot of Taylor Swift as I cast Wildest Dreams. For green XX, return X target cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Wildest Dreams. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, but even still, this is a good variant of Regrowth, right? Like 5 mana, get back your best 2 cards. Decent step. Sometimes you cast this for 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
Green can do that.
It's a good draw spell, right? It's like a C+.
Yeah. I think you got to do some build aroundy stuff to it, or like I think you got to make some considerations. If I'm trying to play some sort of like, what's it called, the 2-drop, the Seed Sculptor into Rhino into Outrider, probably not thrilled about playing Wildest Dreams in that deck. But I think if I'm splashing, I think if I'm attuning and Druid of the Cowl, this is where it sort of starts to feel like I'm building. I have in my mind these 2 different green decks, and Wildest Dreams makes me want to do one thing more than the other.
Yeah, I agree with that totally.
But yeah, C+, 'tis good. Why is this card in the set? Like, this is already in Historic.
Yeah, I don't know. So we got Heroic Intervention. This is 1 and a green for an instant. Permanents you control again, hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So we just saw this. This is like a very medium combat trick. I think there was a lot of pushback actually when we reviewed this the first time. Like I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, I think it's going to be a lot
insane.
better." Yeah. It's a card that looks like it could be insane, but it's hard to get a blowout on it, right? So yeah, this is like a C, right? It's a fine protection spell. Sometimes you get a 2-for-1 if you're very lucky, or you like line up blocks properly, but it's pretty medium most of the time.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Another really good one here.
Yeah. Rishkar, Pima, Renegade, 2 and a green for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures, and then each creature you control with a counter on it has tap, add green. You know what got me so wrecked? God, I can't remember. But I was playing this card in Cube, and because the text each creature with a counter on it, like it wasn't like +1/+1 counter. I think I had like put a -1/-1 counter on something maybe, and then my opponent was able to cast Ulamog because they had like more mana from their Rishkar.
Oh, okay.
Like, just this part's not going to come up here, but it does say with a just has to have a counter, like a counter from Makeshift Mannequin or whatever. Like
right, something. Yeah.
So just to throw that out there, but this card is amazing.
Yeah, very very good. Like
that's a lot of power and toughness and a lot of power period just from one card.
A lot of times how this is going to play out is you're going to go 2-drop, 3-drop. This is what you're going to play on turn 4. The 2-drop and 3-drop are going to be able to attack profitably. Then you untap and unload the rest of your hand.
But
right.
And you can also just go 2-drop this, put a counter on itself and your other and your 2-drop, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You don't even have to do on 4. Very, very good.
B+?
B+, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and then Judge reload your hand. Oh, yeah, that's the dream.
And now we have Bristling Hydra. Like, crazy, so many good cards. This is
just compare this to all of like Blue's garbage.
I know, oh, God, Blue, jeez. 2 green, 4/4/3. When Bristling Hydra enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy. You can pay 3 energy, put a +1/+1 counter on Bristling Hydra, and it gains hexproof until end of turn.
So basically, they have to kill it twice.
Yes,
and God help them if you have more ways to make energy, which isn't that difficult.
Right. B+?
Yeah, B+.
Yeah. This is quite a good card.
Ooh, and a Planeswalker. Okay, Nissa Vital Force. 3 green for a 5 loyalty walker. +1, untap target land you control until your next turn. It becomes a 5/5 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. -3, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. And -6, that's just 1 uptick from 5. You get an emblem with whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card.
Yeah, this is just a great Nissa. All right, like 5/5 every turn. They don't stay, of course, but you're attacking your opponent for 5 and like either trumpet or like.
Well, but it protects itself.
Yeah, exactly, right. Until next turn if you need to. Yeah, that's great. And then both the other abilities are also great. Like, if you want, this ultimate's the turn after it comes down. Like, you're probably going to be plussing it more than you're going to go plus negative, honestly, but still very, very good.
I mean, I think my memory of this card is that the play pattern was often plus, and then get back your best thing, replay it on the following turn. Plus protect Nissa, then regrow your best thing, replay that to protect Nissa, and then this is an A-? I think it is.
Yeah, I would say so.
Speaking of A-.
Yes, got Verdus Gearhulk. So this is 3 green for a 4/4 trample artifact creature. When Verdus Gearhulk enters the battlefield, distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures you control. So I made the comparison a second ago of Ridge Scale Tusker to this card, and like it's not exactly the same card, but it's just funny to see those cards side by side and be like they are very similar cards. This card is just as good. Sometimes
it's better. This card is better.
I think it's close. I don't think
the only time it's not better is when you have 5 other creatures. That's the only time it's not better.
4 other creatures, right? Because
why?
Because this is automatically a 4/4. Or sorry, the Root Scale Tusker is automatically a 5/5.
Yeah, but this has trample. Buddy, you're not going to sell me that Tusker is better than this.
It's close.
It's close.
This card is also very, very good. This is another A- card.
Yes, this card is insane.
Yeah. sometimes you just make this an 8/8, which is just really funny.
Last green card here is Rishkar's Expertise. 4 green for a sorcery. You draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control, and then you may cast a spell with CMC 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost.
Right. So one of the problems with big draw spells is that you don't, they're tempo negative. You don't affect the board in any way. This completely solves that problem. You draw a bunch of cards, and then you just play your best thing for free. Right?
Yeah.
This is gonna draw 3-4 cards a lot of the time. Sometimes more. Again, like we mentioned with your Riparian Tiger attacks for 6 or whatever. Jeez. And it's so many cards.
Right. It's just really not hard to imagine curving one of the many broken 5-drops we've seen at uncommon or common. Mm-hmm. Like even the C's at common, the Cavalry and the Tiger. Curving that into this to refill your hand and deploy another threat. So you get free. You're getting 5 free mana, 4 free mana. It's. I think this is a B.
Yeah, it's a very, very good draw spell.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's bad on an empty board, but what isn't,
Yeah.
All right, that's green.
Yeah.